Hello, dear Libra. If you're watching this video right now, I want you to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, because what I'm about to share could protect both your finances and your peace of mind. You didn't land here by accident. You were guided. Something inside you has been whispering, trying to get your attention. There's a man, someone whose name starts with the letter J, who has been or is about to start draining your energy, your confidence, and your wallet. This isn't about obvious danger. This is subtle. It's emotional erosion, disguised as love, advice, or even kindness. And the worst part? You may not have realized it yet, but your soul has. This reading is a deep spiritual and energetic message created especially for Libra, a sign of balance, beauty, fairness, and also vulnerability to people who pretend to care but secretly compete, manipulate, or take. Think back for a second. Has someone lately made you question your decisions? Your worth? Have you been spending more, doubting more, dimming your light to avoid being too much? Maybe it's someone charismatic, but you always leave the conversation feeling just a little bit less sure of yourself. That's not love. That's not support. That's energetic theft. And that's why this message found you today. The universe is pulling you close now. It's reminding you, you are not meant to shrink to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. You are not here to fund someone's fantasy or soothe someone's ego at the cost of your peace. You are here to shine fully, love freely, and protect your gifts fiercely. So let's go deeper into this together. Because you deserve clarity. You deserve safety. And you deserve relationships, romantic, professional, or personal, that add to your life, not slowly subtract from it. Now, before we dive in, let me just say this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Thank you for being here. For every like, every comment, every time you share or subscribe to this channel, you're not just supporting Zodiac Whisper Tarot, you're helping create a safe and sacred space for people like you, intuitive, open-hearted, and ready to grow. Your presence here matters. And I truly feel it. And Libra, believe me when I say, you'll want to stay with me all the way to the end of this video. Because what the universe is about to reveal isn't just a warning, it's a doorway. One that can help you reclaim your energy, your boundaries, and your sense of personal power. Here's a little challenge for you. Speech balloon comment below with the words, "I protect my peace and my purpose," if you're ready to take back your mind, your money, and your magic. And remember, today's sacred number for you is 7, the number of divine insight and protection. If you see it show up again in your life this week, know that it's a sign. You're not walking this alone. Let's begin. Sometimes, the things that drain us don't come crashing into our lives like storms. They arrive quietly, wearing smiles and speaking soft words that seem harmless at first. But over time, something in you starts to feel off. You're not sure when it began, but now, your energy feels low. Your confidence is shaken. Your sense of direction gets blurry. That's the kind of influence we're uncovering right now, and if you're a Libra, your soul knows this imbalance all too well. This part of your journey is about reclaiming the sacred space of balance that defines who you are. As a Libra, you're ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and harmony. But Venus doesn't just govern what looks good, it governs what feels right. And right now, that natural inner equilibrium is being tested by subtle but strong forces. Astrologically, the tension between Venus and Neptune is asking you to look closely. Where in your life are you choosing illusion over clarity? Who in your life cloaks their manipulation as love, or their control as concern? The tarot cards in this reading speak with precision. Justice calls for you to step back and see clearly not just the facts, but how they align with your values. It's not only about what someone does, but how their presence tilts the scale inside you. Are you constantly adjusting yourself to maintain peace? If so, it's no longer peace, it's a compromise of your spirit. Then we have the Seven of Swords, the card of quiet deceit. It's not always about betrayal in the dramatic sense. Sometimes it's the small things, the backhanded compliments, the way they make you doubt your goals, the questions that sound like care but feel like criticism. This card whispers, pay attention to the behavior behind the words. Who do you feel the need to defend yourself around, even when you've done nothing wrong? That's a signal. And the Five of Pentacles, this one is often misunderstood. It's not just about money, it's about the loss of worth, the feeling of being outside, even in relationships. When your finances start slipping, or you feel like your mind is overwhelmed with scarcity and pressure, ask yourself, is someone else's presence contributing to this sense of lack? Sometimes, people create confusion, so we lean on them more. But you, Libra, are not meant to depend, you are meant to discern. The numerology in your reading reinforces this message. Number 7 appears when it's time to trust your inner wisdom, even if it conflicts with what someone else wants you to believe. And number 2 reminds you, boundaries aren't walls. They're doors with locks, you decide who comes in. If you felt like your boundaries have been dismissed, or you've let someone too far into your sacred space, it's time to restore order. You may have been raised to believe that being good means being agreeable. But true goodness isn't passive, it's wise. It's not about pleasing everyone. It's about standing in quiet integrity, even when it's hard. And if that makes someone uncomfortable, let it. Because your peace is not up for negotiation. In seasons like this, remember, nothing taken from you with dishonesty can ever truly belong to someone else. What is meant for you will rise again, but first, you must make room by removing what depletes you. It's okay to say no. It's okay to walk away. There is strength in choosing yourself. So I invite you to pause, breathe, and ask, where am I being asked to choose balance over approval? Let that question stay with you. Let it open the door to clarity. And if this part of the reading resonates, I encourage you to comment below with, I honor my balance and protect my worth. Because naming your power is the first step in reclaiming it. And here's where the message becomes personal. After understanding the energy at play, the imbalance, the quiet drain, it's time to bring the spotlight closer. The truth is, the kind of manipulation we're talking about rarely comes with flashing warning signs. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't demand attention, it chips away slowly at your instincts, your sense of self, your ability to say, this doesn't feel right. That's why recognizing the who behind the energy is just as important as recognizing the what. This person, whose name may begin with the letter J, could be anyone. A friend who seems generous on the surface, always encouraging you to treat yourself, upgrade, indulge, but in ways that are more about control than care. Maybe they subtly shape your spending habits, offer opinions on how you should live, yet never truly support your financial growth. Or perhaps it's someone closer to your heart, a romantic partner who calls you too sensitive when you express your feelings, someone who turns your vulnerability into a weapon, then expects you to apologize for needing reassurance. They say they're only helping. They say they love you. But their actions leave you doubting your own voice. In other cases, this figure may wear the face of professionalism, a boss or coworker who constantly undermines your decisions, who offers feedback laced with subtle competition or passive aggression. You find yourself hesitating, holding back in meetings, second-guessing your judgment. The idea of asking for a raise, investing in yourself, or chasing something bigger suddenly feels too risky. Not because you can't, but because someone made you believe you shouldn't. What these people often have in common is a clever way of disguising manipulation as guidance. They say things like, "I'm just saying this for your own good," or "You're beautiful, but maybe tone it down a bit." On the surface, these comments seem harmless, even caring. But underneath them lies a quiet erosion of your confidence. It's the kind of behavior that builds walls between you and your potential, all while making you feel like the one holding the bricks. Ask yourself, have you ever apologized for wanting to save money? Have you ever downplayed your dreams because someone told you they weren't realistic? These aren't just fleeting moments. These are signs. Signs that someone in your space might be planting doubt where there should be encouragement. Real love, real friendship, real mentorship doesn't ask you to shrink. It doesn't ask you to question your goals or edit your emotions. It offers space, safety, and support even when it doesn't understand every part of your path. There's a simple but powerful truth here. If you feel like you have to justify your decisions to someone who isn't directly responsible for your well-being, that's worth a closer look. You don't owe anyone access to your wallet or your dreams just because they've been in your life for a while. And you never need to apologize for being ambitious, emotional, or deeply intuitive. Those aren't weaknesses. They're your compass. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from those who dim your light while pretending to admire it. You were not put here to constantly defend your choices. You were not created to filter your truth to make others feel comfortable. Quiet manipulation is still manipulation, and you are allowed to name it for what it is, even when no one else sees it yet. If this part of the message speaks to something inside you, that's no accident. That's your clarity sharpening, your wisdom rising. And if it feels a little uncomfortable, that's okay, growth often does. But this is the moment you get to choose. Not to please. Not to comply. But to protect your energy, your goals, your peace. Go ahead, leave a comment that says, "I choose clarity over confusion." Because the more clearly you see the truth, the less power it has to hurt you. It often begins in small, quiet ways, subtle enough that you overlook them at first. A little comment here, a strange feeling there, until one day, you're not quite sure where your thoughts end and someone else's suggestions begin. That's the nature of mental and emotional manipulation. It doesn't burst in through the front door, it seeps in through the cracks, disguised as affection, loyalty, or concern. When someone manipulates your mind, they're not always trying to control your actions directly, they're trying to reshape how you see yourself. They might say, "I've done so much for you," not to celebrate their efforts, but to create a sense of debt, an unspoken obligation that clouds your ability to make decisions freely. Or perhaps they imply, without directly stating it, that their love or support is conditional, something you must earn or keep proving yourself worthy of. Over time, you start adjusting your behavior, not because you want to, but because you're afraid of losing what little approval they give. This manipulation isn't always loud or cruel. Sometimes, it's cloaked in sweetness, in, "I just want what's best for you," or, "You're being too sensitive." That's gaslighting, a tactic that quietly trains you to doubt your own emotions, instincts, and reality. And once you start doing that, you become far more likely to tolerate behaviors that your inner wisdom would have once rejected. From an astrological perspective, the timing of this energy couldn't be more telling. Mercury, the planet that governs thought, communication, and perception, is currently retrograding through your 12th house, the part of your chart that rules the subconscious, hidden truths, and blind spots. This means your mind may feel cloudy, your intuition dulled, your ability to distinguish truth from illusion challenged. The 12th house is where we store things we don't want to face, but now, they're surfacing. And with Mercury moving backward here, there's a heightened risk of mental entanglements, especially those involving others' voices overriding your own. That's why it's so important, now more than ever, to return to yourself, to your own voice, your own values, your own clarity. When we lose sight of who we are, we become more susceptible to those who seek to shape us for their own benefit. And the universe is always responding to what we radiate. If you walk through life broadcasting uncertainty and a need for validation, you'll naturally attract people who reinforce that pattern, not out of malice, but because you're energetically aligned with them. But there's a way to shift it. It starts with recognizing that you are not wrong for feeling what you feel. You are not too sensitive. You are not asking for too much. Your instincts are not a flaw, they are a built-in compass designed to keep you aligned with your truth. And when someone tries to talk you out of them, that's a sign they're not aligned with your well-being. There's a quiet strength in boundaries, in saying, "I need space to think clearly," or, "That comment didn't feel right." You don't need to justify your peace or earn your worthiness. And you certainly don't need to tolerate manipulation just because it's packaged with affection. One of the most important lessons you can learn during this cycle is this: just because someone loves you, or says they do, doesn't mean their behavior is loving. In moments like these, I encourage you to remember what true kindness looks like, not the kind that flatters, but the kind that frees. Not the kind that expects repayment, but the kind that stands steady with no strings attached. You deserve to be surrounded by voices that lift your spirit, not ones that leave you questioning whether your spirit is too much. And if this message makes something stir within you, let that be your guide. Not fear. Not guilt. But that little inner knowing that says, "I'm ready to come back to myself." Leave a comment below if that's how you feel. You can write, "I choose truth over confusion." It's not just a statement, it's a shift. One that reminds you that no matter how deep the water seems, you can always choose to rise. Sometimes the most powerful way to protect your energy isn't to fight or explain, it's simply to pause and recalibrate. After becoming aware of how certain influences may be affecting your clarity, your confidence, or even your bank account, the next step is about choosing small but deliberate actions that restore your sense of inner control. When your thoughts feel scattered or your worth seems to hinge on someone else's approval, it's easy to forget that you already have everything you need to begin again inside of you. As a Libra, your natural gift is harmony, but that gift becomes a challenge when you're constantly bending to keep the peace at the cost of your own balance. So much of your power lies in your ability to notice what throws you off center and then gently course correct. That's why in this moment, protection isn't about fear. It's about alignment. It's about choosing to support your own mind, your own financial decisions, and your emotional resilience through small practices that whisper, "I am worth protecting." One way to begin this process is through awareness. Track not just your spending, but how you feel when you spend. Are your choices coming from joy, or from pressure? Are you buying peace in situations that actually require boundaries? Keep a small journal for the next 7 days. Jot down each financial decision, even the small ones, and next to each, write how you felt in that moment. Empowerment doesn't come from strict control, it comes from compassionate clarity. Start each day by affirming your ownership of your thoughts and your money. You can simply whisper to yourself, "I lead my life with clarity. I choose where my energy and money go." This isn't about chanting something magical, it's about reminding yourself that your inner voice matters, especially when others have tried to drown it out. And the truth is, when you ground yourself at the start of the day, you create a ripple effect that carries into every decision you make. You may also want to create space, emotional and physical, from people who continually make you feel like you're not enough. This isn't about cutting people off out of anger. It's about choosing stillness over noise. Sometimes, stepping back even a little allows you to see the truth with more ease. There's nothing selfish about protecting your mental clarity. In fact, the more centered you are, the more loving you can be because you're not running on empty. Support your brain and nervous system in tangible ways too. Foods rich in omega-3s like walnuts, chia seeds, and wild-caught salmon help support mental clarity. Herbs like rosemary stimulate memory and intuitive function. You'd be surprised how physical nourishment can affect emotional stability. Pair that with early morning walks or a few minutes of slow, conscious breathing, and you're not just healing, you're creating a protective foundation for your mind to rest on. Colors matter too, not in a mystical sense, but in how they affect your mood and perception. Wear or surround yourself with jade green to stimulate intuitive insight and calm financial anxiety. Use cream white to cleanse your space and gently separate yourself from confusing, manipulative energy. These tones don't just look good, they invite a sense of peace, of clear-headed independence. And maybe the most important question to ask yourself in this moment is this: when you stand alone, do you feel steady, or do you feel like something's missing until someone else tells you you're okay? Your answer might surprise you. But it also might be the key to unlocking a deeper kind of strength, the kind that doesn't need constant reassurance, because it's built on trust in yourself. When you begin showing up for your own needs in these small but consistent ways, you'll start to feel something shift. Not all at once, but steadily. And in that shift, you'll remember, true balance doesn't mean everything around you is calm. It means you're calm in the center of it all. If this part of the message resonates, comment below with the words, "I protect my peace, even in silence." Because sometimes, your calmest moments speak the loudest. By now, you've begun to see things more clearly, the signs, the patterns, the way this person has quietly woven themselves into your decisions, your emotions, and perhaps even your finances. And while awareness is powerful, awareness alone is not freedom. True liberation begins when you make the conscious choice to release yourself from the energetic threads that still connect you to what drains you. It doesn't always come with a big confrontation. Sometimes, the most transformative moments happen in silence when you decide that your peace matters more than someone else's presence. One gentle but powerful step you can take is to write a letter. Not to send, not to argue, but to express. Let the words flow without filtering. Say the things you held back. Speak the truths you've been afraid to admit, even to yourself. This isn't for them, it's for you. When you put those emotions into words, you take them out of your body and onto the page. That alone is a sacred form of release. And if you feel ready, you can go a step further. Burn the letter safely, with the intention that you are letting go not just of the person, but of the version of yourself that tolerated their presence. You might be tempted to doubt yourself again, especially if this person returns with apologies, promises, or sudden tenderness. That's part of the cycle. Manipulation rarely exits without a final performance. They may say they've changed, that they were misunderstood, that they missed the connection. And part of you, especially if your heart is tender, might want to believe them. But growth requires discernment. Ask yourself, are they sorry because they hurt you, or because they lost access to your energy? The tarot speaks clearly here. You are holding the sword of justice now, not in anger, but in clarity. This sword doesn't seek revenge, it cuts through confusion. Use it. You've seen how things look. Now trust how they feel. Seven of Swords reminds you not to be deceived by surface appearances. Just because someone says all the right things doesn't mean they've done the work to become someone different. Don't be lulled by the illusion of change when the pattern remains. Let your energy now be directed toward what nourishes you. Your money, your mind, your dreams, they belong in the hands of people who respect them, and most importantly, in your hands. Every time you say no to something toxic, you're saying yes to something sacred, your self-worth. One of the quiet teachings that has guided many wise souls over centuries is this: you don't have to fix people to be a good person. You don't have to stay where you are being slowly unmade. Walking away is not abandonment, it is alignment. You were not put here to carry the weight of someone else's inability to love you well. As you move forward, speak this truth to yourself gently but firmly: I choose to keep my money and my mind for what uplifts me. I do not give my energy to those who deny my value. Repeat it when doubt returns. Let it be your shield when old patterns whisper to you. And trust that with every step you take away from chaos, you're stepping closer to clarity, peace, and purpose. If this resonates deeply, if you feel something soft but strong awakening inside you, feel free to leave a comment that says, I choose release over repetition. Because you are not here to repeat the same wounds. You are here to rise with grace, with wisdom, and with the calm power of someone who finally remembers who they are. Maybe what you've just heard stirred something deep inside you, a quiet remembering, a subtle awakening, a realization that you've been handing your peace to people who were never meant to hold it. And that's okay. Awareness isn't a destination, it's a doorway. You've walked through it simply by staying with me until now. Everything we've explored together, from recognizing manipulation, to setting boundaries, to reclaiming control over your finances and your mental space, has been about one thing: helping you come home to yourself. Because that's where your real power lives. Not in someone else's approval. Not in how much you can give or tolerate or fix. But in your ability to choose your own inner peace again and again. You see, Libra, your journey hasn't been about weakness. It's been about discernment. Every time you questioned yourself, every time you felt conflicted about doing what's best for you, it wasn't because you lacked strength. It was because your heart is soft, and you've always believed in seeing the best in others. But believing in others should never require you to stop believing in yourself. Yes, money can be lost and made again. But your mind, your clarity, your emotional well-being, once bruised too often, can take far longer to heal. That's why this moment matters. Because right now, you get to choose. Not just who you allow into your life, but who you no longer allow to shape your narrative. What would it look like if you stopped shrinking to keep the peace? What would it feel like to speak without apologizing, to dream without editing, to trust your gut even when it isn't logical? Can you imagine what your life would look like if you stopped asking for permission to honor yourself? Because the truth is, you don't need to justify your need for calm. You don't need to prove why you deserve respect. And you certainly don't need to keep extending grace to someone who's made you question your worth more than once. You were not created to be agreeable at the cost of your own joy. You were born to be the balance bringer, not just for others, but for yourself. Let this be your reminder that your presence is enough. Your voice matters. Your boundaries are sacred. And when you choose to walk away from a cycle of manipulation, no matter how familiar it feels, you're not giving up. You're finally standing up. For your future. For your peace. For your truth. So if something in your heart is saying, yes, this is me, I'm ready to break the cycle, then let's mark that moment together. Drop a comment below that says, I'm reclaiming my balance. Let your words be the first bricks in the new foundation you're building. One made not of guilt or guessing games, but of clarity, courage, and care. And if this video supported you in any way, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Your support allows me to keep bringing these soul-guided messages to those who need them. You're not alone on this path, not anymore. And I hope you'll stay connected, because what's ahead for you, it's brighter than you know.